All right, welcome to the weekly recap. It's the last full week of the month. What I'm going to do is we're just going to look at the 30-minute chart with the 4-hour overlay, just because that is going to give you um, a better view of the week, because you can see all of this was the week, just like all of this was the week. So um, you need to really be aware of where you're in reference with the pivots, at least on multi-day. Because look at this, like Thursday. So the beginning of the week, I made known that we were this consolidating. So if you consolidate, let's look back at the previous week. So this is how I form a plan for the week before. You need to know where your major areas of concern are, and then where potential targets are. You have no clue, zero clue of what the market's gonna do. It could spend an entire week just consolidating. It could shoot up and then come back down. It could go down then go back up. I mean, you just have to be aware of where you are in reference to pivots, and then just play them as support or resistance. So you can see that the previous week you had this major area, this zone, which was support. They proved that multiple times when you had this drop, drop, and then finally on the third time they broke it, and then they retested it. So boom, I can almost say that this zone is an area of interest. So when we actually drop those 1, 2, 3 days at the end of that week, you can go ahead and give yourself a little bit of give yourself a little room, an idea of what could happen. So it's close to 500 points. Now, I don't really know what's going to happen. So as the week and days progress, again, you want to be able to learn how the market is telling you sort of a story. You can be right on the direction, but wrong on the timing. That is probably the hardest thing that I've done, or I had trouble with in trading. Is I know a direction, I know where it should go. I just don't know when it's going to do that. For all this week, this could have done a consolidate, and a Wednesday consolidate. I could have done a Wednesday consolidate break, and then it could have done a gap down, bust down through here. It could have done where it dropped down here, then it consolidated, and then continue down. I mean, you don't know, but all you know is where major areas of interest are, meaning where something should not break through. If it does, then that's a problem. Then you just need to reverse. So, and it also helps you with the plan. Like, say for instance, the beginning of the week, I knew that you had a big drop from a support. So now you drop. We actually opened down here. You can see this wick right here. This is the wick of the 4-hour candle. So in reality, when you start seeing a consolidation pattern, meaning you went up, and then you sold off, and then they bought it back up, and then they sold off. If you didn't see any of this, let's go back to let's exit out of that, and let's do replay. If you didn't see any of that, and say for instance that's all you saw on Tuesday, you could say that in your mind at 11:30, or 12 o'clock, this is how you play the scenario in your head. We either have to drop below, which then we would probably continue down, or this is going to be the reversal point at 12:30 the afternoon. This is just how you create those plans for the morning and afternoon. If you compartmentalize and you break things down smaller into chunks, like on your half day, morning, afternoon session, daily versus weekly sessions, it gives you a better sense of like what's going on. So if you would have done that, and then let's see, exit out of that, you would have saw that it reversed for the afternoon. 12 o'clock, and then 12:30 was the new session for the afternoon. So what did we do? And we found resistance. So at the end of Tuesday, you're forming a plan for the rest of the week. You now see this: resistance, resistance, resistance. Now you have to tell yourself for the next day on Wednesday, what would happen? Okay, there's a scenario. It's already proven that it's a lower high, higher low. It's consolidating. So it's one of two things, or three of three things. You either are above here and you go higher. You either stay in here and you chop around, or you go below and you break down. We ended up going below and breaking down. That's how you play these consolidations. By look where your key areas are. Here. Here. It's saying this is resistance. It's having a hard time getting through. This is saying this is support. It's having a hard time getting through. If you don't see this pattern, I don't know what you're looking at, but this is a clear bear flag, which is a technical analysis term for consolidation. So what do? In reality, now that I have more information of where we opened down here. When it comes to TA, look, this is stuff that it's not hindsight. I actually, if you go back to the beginning of the week and you watch the daily videos, I actually told you what my target was and how I formulated that. And sure enough, you're going to see how it actually turned out, and it did to the T. So why are we choosing this area? Well, I'm choosing the previous week close. Yes, it could be here. It's never an exact science. It just gives you an overview, like range, what could happen. And once you start getting to that target, you need to start selling that position because you never know. The trading, the hardest thing I deal with in trading is perfectionism. It's trying to get the perfect entry or the perfect exit. It's not going to happen because you try to get the perfect entry here. Look at this. You get stopped out. You get a little wick, then comes back down. It's really hard to be precise. All you're trying to do is capture 20% of the move for the day, or even 50% of the move. That's even great. But this is called a measured move. If you measure this is 600 points. If I was going to measure from the breakout, where could it go? Because also this is considered anytime you have a big move, you want to be looking for halfbacks. Is this 325? I mean, in reality, it went a little bit more, but this is a half of this move, or roughly half that move. Then the continuation. What do I do for making a plan for the week once I start noticing a consolidation pattern? This is what I do. I copy and just give myself an idea of where something can go. And where did it go? It almost to the T. Almost to the T. Well, I don't know why. Actually, why did I copy that? It's a 603. This is 588. So this actually should be 603. So if you did 603 and you measured it, we hit it to the T. And it almost hit that -1 ATR. So after this move happened right here, and you're like, on Thursday, no, this was Wednesday, this is Thursday, this is Friday. So Thursday, if you had this plan up for the rest of the week, it consolidated, showed this cards, and look, even better, it has closed underneath the bear pivot. So what does that mean? You need to be bearish. What do? They gap it down. The first 15 minutes, they came up, they retested, they filled that gap, and then they just dumped it again. It was repeat of the day before. Here, but they didn't give you an opportunity. They just gapped it down and they just started tanking. Same thing here. They gapped it down, then they consolidated a little bit for about an hour, half an hour. They ran it up to this fib, and then they finished it off. They did this right before 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock and 12:30 happened. They basically double bottom and they found the low. And how they found the low is, I mean, you can see that it should never have came back up here. It should never have crossed this fib. If they were going to keep going down, they would have came up here, and that would have been another just sort of higher low, and then they would have then came back down. So again, this is just looking at weekly plans to give yourself an idea of where your targets are, and then after you have 2 days, of a drop, or what? And it's not necessarily 2 days. It's sometimes 2 or 3. You always want to be looking for either a bounce or a consolidation. So what ended up happening is you had 2 big moves, which were the same exact a move, and then on Friday, what did we do? We ended up gapping up, and then just sort of chopping around in the zone. And then when I say zone, as you see this 4-hour candle, we never got out of that. So you're consolidating within the previous candle. So what you're seeing is you see it goes up and then comes down, and then I wouldn't be surprised if we go up and then we could go see it down on next week. So the key now for making a plan is this right here. If we break above this candle, really my target is right here, because this was support. You see how this was resistance, and it's also this candle. Anything above this, I would say I would be bullish. Anything below this is consolidation, possibly more continuation down. So that's how you play the week. You see how the beginning of the week sometimes needs to show its cards. You don't know what it's going to happen, but you just need to constantly be aware of where your points of interest. And those intraday pivots help form this. All this is formed by those intraday pivots. It allows you to see where things are wanting to move. Gives you range, gives you an idea. So let's go into next week and what possibly could happen. This is not good, by the way. That doesn't mean that we can't what they call a bear rally. You can't in a way still go higher. But you see my zones that I just created. This is TA. So 850, very important, super important. 446 area, important. So what would end up happening is if we end up consolidating like this, let's take a look. If we end up consolidating right here, say Monday, we cannot break over the 446. If we go up and then in the morning and then say the afternoon we come back down, it is clearly showing you a picture of what it's doing. So there's one or two things that can happen once a move is made. So also keep in mind, Tuesday is the 31st. The 31st is the last day of the month, which is right here. This is Monday the 30th and the 31st. Then you have the 1st, which is a new TPO for TPO's time period on a bigger time frame. So now it's a new, it's not necessarily a new week because you're 3 days into the week, but it is a new monthly candle. And it's not necessarily a new quarterly candle. October was the new quarterly candle. So keep that in mind of what they could end up doing. As in, if they end up dropping this and they consolidate it and then they break above this 446 and say on this is Wednesday, November 1st. Actually, let me zoom in because they have, these are the lines. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. A move will happen. Trust me. The market's going to move. The market's going to move next week. It's either going to stay in here or it's going to pop out on Monday. But I have a feeling they're probably going to consolidate it. I think either Apple reports next week and there might be some other news. So that's going to be the catalyst on helping it continue the move. So it's either going to come in here and then possibly Tuesday it could come in here. If it gets really tight and coils up, like whatever it does, it's almost a guarantee of the direction it's going to go. So this then would be the scenario on Wednesday on the 1st. If you end up popping out, this is now resistance until proven otherwise. So ideally what you're looking for is a pop over, a retest, and then a continuation. Sometimes it could just go right through it. But if we go up and over, and at any point we come back down below this, it's screwed. it's gonna start just flushing, and it's gonna flush more because now what is this considered? This is considered a consolidation, and now what are you gonna do? You're gonna measure your move, and so wherever it comes out, that's gonna be the move. So if it ends up coming out right there, then you might be looking at the 13,800 area. So it's going to play in waves. A lot of times that only happens, so we're technically we're on wave 1. This could be wave 2, and then after that, that's the last wave. It's usually either 2 or 3 of those waves before some other it's either going to like keep tanking pretty hard, or you'll have some kind of big reversal until you find another resistance on a bigger scale. So that gives you a plan for Monday and Tuesday. If we end up dropping below this, then look for more continuation. I don't know what the pivots are for next week. If I look at RTH, let's see, or electronic, yes, it has not until Sunday or so. The new pivots will populate, and you'll be able to see where this could go. So with that said, I just now noticed that. Look at that. Interesting. They ended up, oh no, this is see, that's why you don't want to be doing patterns, big patterns on pre-market data, is because it can skew what you're looking at, and that's why you want to be looking at regular trading hour, and you want to be using VWAP for regular trading hour. Don't use VWAP for electronic. If you're going to play electronic pre-market hours, then play pre-market. But the moment that we get into regular trading hours, like, take it off, because none of that data, to me, I feel like makes a difference, because you're able to see where your support and resistance are in your areas of concern. Just regular trading hours. You don't need to see, we ended up dropping down here, and then now it's up here. I think it's just too much information. Analysis by paralysis. Here, this is just telling you what it wants to do. So let's delete this, and let's actually look at a we'll do an hourly. Actually, let's go to a 4-hour, and I want to take off the ATR, because what I want to do, actually, let's look at the daily. I want to look at the bigger picture. You got to understand, right? Get your head out of your butt, and sort of like look at the bigger picture. Like, there's a reason why, like, there's nothing below us. Actually, let's take a look at weekly. At least on ES. Okay, there you go. That's what I wanted to see. Remember that line that I drew? These are all the same. At 446, I told you that was going to be important. Look what it is over here on August 15th. That was resistance, or at least where it ended up flipping. So right now we're going down. Now, how fast do we go? I don't know. We won't know until the end of the year. Do I think that's going to come all the way down to the end of the year? I don't know. But look what ended up happening in one week. It ended up dropping from 400 to, we ended up dropping a crap ton right here. Look what ended up happening 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row. It ended up dropping. It ended up dropping, from 15,900 down to, I don't know, like 12,300. So a couple thousand points, on NQ. So same thing here. I mean, it dropped a lot. So we have 2 months left in the year. If anything, I mean, this thing could come down here, down this little area. So my areas of concern, looking on the bigger picture, would be right here. Here. Why? It for a month it proved that this was resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are weekly candles. So that tells me that, which was now resistance, if that ends up breaking below, is now going to be resistance again. But it's support until proven otherwise. Until then, you see how there's nothing stopping us. That's 1,000 points. So next week we could come back up to 446 and drop some more, and we can end up going to that 13 or yeah, 13,900 area, which it was the bottom of this low, and then the week after that we can come all the way down here. I don't know. Let's take a look. I mean, this is all technical analysis. This move right here for 3 weeks ended up being 1,000 points. Then we consolidated and basically had a lower high, 1, 2, 3, 3 weeks. So, I mean, in my opinion, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, we've already made close to the already move that it happened before. Let's see, did it do it again here? Close. You know, it doesn't have to be exact because look, this week was different. Then look, you had 2 weeks that are major, but all I know is you had 3 weeks of dumping, 3 weeks of consolidation, 1, 2. This could be the third week where they can do another one. So again, all you're trying to do is you're trying to look for. I mean, this only matters you're playing options, but again, this helps you visualize what is going to go on a 30-minute chart. You got to know where those resistance and support areas are, because it's going to tell you, like today, that would have told you really clearly. Look at that 446. That anything up above is a push. I mean, look at this. Came right to here. So you should have been selling your position if you were long, but you should be flipping or not flipping, because remember how if you looked at my daily recap, you see how it went over. It went over the mid-range pitch, but it came immediately back down. And even better, do you see what the pattern it's actually forming? See how it actually is forming a consolidation pattern? So consolidation patterns is anywhere you have a lower high, higher low. And eventually it dropped out of it, came back up, retested it, and then after that retest, a lot of times, you know, that's it. You know, and then you're below a resistance, you're below the consolidation. So now it should just trend down, and sure enough, it just trended down, and there's not one green candle until it hit the bottom. See, no green candle. So, that's the same thing that happens on a weekly or daily, but that happens in a bigger time frame. So if you're looking at a weekly chart, it's something can pop over a major support or resistance, but it could be on a daily basis, you know. But you want to be looking for that stuff. So, anyways, that was the recap for the week. Hopefully that wasn't too much information if I rambled on. Again, some TA, technical analysis involved in there, what you're trying to look for, how you're trying to tell the story, and really what it comes down to is just trusting in the pivots and look for those patterns and just, you know, size accordingly. So until next week.